All right, what's popping, y'all? We back off a break. Let's get this going, man. I had a long, crazy week, but I'm glad we finally back. So we're gonna go ahead and just we're gonna go ahead and get rocking, man. And let's go. What's popping, y'all? And we got a video chat forming. I'm glad we back. You know, it was a long All-Star break for me. Busy, long and busy. I was really busy. Did it. I'm just getting back today. From a week-long conference. It wasn't a hard conference to organize, but busy. If you ever get a chance to organize a conference, you'll see just how busy organizing a conference is. It's relentless work from top to bottom, all the way across the board. You're constantly moving, constantly around, preparing for the next day. You're up late at night. You're up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Then you got to be out there at 7:30. Busy. But I'm glad to be back talking Knicks. Maybe not much to talk about tonight. I'm sure there is a lot of to talk about tonight. So we're gonna get to it. We got Clem in the chat. We got Guillermo. We got Viv. Usual suspects in the chat. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about a few things, and see what these guys think about. I guess we could talk a little bit about the All-Star break. I didn't get a chance to come on. I thought I was gonna get a chance to come on. I just didn't get a chance to because I was preparing for this conference that I had to organize, or put on. So I didn't really get a chance to jump on like I thought I was going to, but it's all good. We're back and in action. Oh, let's get to it. Let's get talking to these guys, man, and see how these guys feel. Viv, Guillermo, Clem, what's popping, man? What's up, Viv?
What's going on, Tim? How are you doing?
I'm good. Real good. How you been? It's been a while. All-Star break. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know the All-Star break. Yeah, it's been a pretty busy break for the most part with other stuff, but finally, I thought we had a little too many games of too many days of break for the NBA, so I figured it's time to restart these games. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to this final grind.
Final run to the finish line, and we're gonna start going over draft picks and stuff like that. Time to start looking at that stuff, man, because it's almost here. What do we got? 23 games left.
Yeah, somewhere like that.
Yeah, something like that. So it's almost here. Guillermo, what's up with you, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Chilling, man. Yeah, that break was weird, man, but oddly enough, man, March Madness is almost here, man. Get ready for that, man. I'm excited, but it sucks because Zion is probably going to stay out, and I think that's pretty interesting. And I think it connects to the Knicks, too, like how we view them. I think some of the hype is kind of going to some of these guys' heads. But, yeah, it's good to see the Knicks back in action. Let's get to it, man.
A lot of what happened with Zion can connect to the Knicks in different ways.
A lot.
Different
ways.
Sir. Definitely different ways. Clem, what's popping with you, man?
Yeah, good. How are you, Sam?
Good, man.
Hey, what's up, Guillermo? What's up, Viv?
It was a
Hey, what's up, baby?
pretty long break.
Yeah, long break. Isaiah, everybody's live, so.
Sorry.
Yeah. Long break, man.
Yeah. Almost too long.
Yeah, too long. It is. You know what I mean? Long break. The All-Star game was corny, in my opinion. The rookie game was corny, in my opinion.
Very.
Right? The slam dunk contest was okay. But look, it's so Just
Slam dunk got to be first. On Saturday night, that's the worst of the 3 or 4.
The skills competition was the most exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't like the dunk contest. The dunk contest is actually
LeBron will never be better than Jordan until he tries to do the dunk contest.
That's over. That's over, Guillermo. That's over.
I mean, come on. We need something like.
He's too scared. He's never gonna do it.
Yeah, he's not.
I thought the dunks in the All-Star game were better than the actual dunks in the dunk contest, for the most part.
Hey, wait, ho, before we go, Sim, what happened to your man Dirk at the 3-point contest? You remember that, right?
Hey, man, I remember that. I didn't say he was going to win. I said I was rooting for him to win. I was rooting for Dirk to win.
He saved his energy for the game itself.
Yeah, it was nice to see him hit those shots, man. It's going to suck with him and Wade. Especially D Wade. D Wade is so underrated. I think he's going to be one of the more underrated players just because all the stars he came in the league with and LeBron James. But damn, Dwyane Wade.
I'm going to tell you,
underrated.
Honestly, about D Wade, and I get a lot of flack for this. When I say this about D Wade.
I know what you're going to say, but go ahead. I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
You're going to say he's the second best shooting guard after Jordan?
No. No, not even.
Better than Kobe?
I don't think so. See, here's my thing about Dwyane Wade. This is my opinion, and I know I get a lot of hate for it, but I look at Wade, and when he was by himself, if Wade, in my opinion, if Wade didn't have some of the guys he played with, his career might be looked at like Chris Paul. He might be like Chris Paul. I believe.
Oh, I can agree with you.
I believe that because anytime
the only thing is, I would say some of his greatest seasons were actually without anybody.
When he had that season where,
but they weren't doing anything.
But they weren't exactly seasons. But a lot of times, if you look at his seasons without another guy with him, his teams went out in the first round. Kind of like
they were bad. Yeah,
they were. I mean, when they had Smush and Lamar Odom and I think was it Karan Butler? I can't remember that Heat team. And they made it to the playoffs. I mean, they had nobody. I mean, you can talk about LeBron. LeBron's played on super teams or stuff, But Dwyane Wade, until I say he got Shaq, and then that whole LeBron, he was carrying a team with nobody. I mean, Chris Paul.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Tyson Chandler, at least.
I just kind of feel like if he never, got some of the players he played with, he may be in the Chris Paul realm.
I agree with you because I think
that's what I think.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way.
I mean, I like Dwyane Wade.
The playoff run is a lot better though. Like that's probably what would separate him from the Chris Paul. Like his performance in the finals is just like. That was crazy. The 06 finals.
He did get a lot of ref calls, but he was spectacular in the finals. Yeah. The first finals, 2006.
I got a lot of respect for Dwyane Wade, for D Wade, but
best.
I mean, listen, we'll never know. We'll never know. You know what I'm saying? So we got to accept.
Also, he was slowed down by health. Like he hit a lot of points, nagging injuries.
Sim, he really his career is probably cut short just because he had to do so much for those Heat teams. Like he really could not take a game off. And he was even done by the the third year LeBron was there when he started getting those little nagging injuries. The second year? Oh no, the second championship. The year after that.
Yeah.
Started getting
and I'm looking at the chat, you know what I mean? And people, throwing some hate at me. I just challenge you to go back and look. That's all I'm gonna say. Just go back.
Somebody said Wade had Beasley.
Go back and look.
That's true. He did have Beasley.
He did have Beasley.
He had Beasley for 2 years.
Here's one thing, right? Yeah. Everyone always says that a player doesn't have anybody with them because they look at the longevity of their career and how long they're in the NBA and what did they do in the NBA they look at their entire career. But what you have to pay attention to, this is something that I pay attention to. And, when you're developing a team, a good team, a championship caliber team, you're not always going to have players that are super all-stars, right? But like you take someone like Allen Iverson and he had that team with him. and he took that team to the finals. Everyone will say, oh, he didn't have no players. He didn't have no players. But you might get a group of players who over the longevity of their career, they look like just maybe below average, average to below average. But during the height of their career, if they're together, they may be playing, even if it's just a year or two, they may play at an all-star like caliber, right? Maybe they don't make the all-star team, but it's all-star like. And so for that moment, a year or two, maybe that team is really good because you got a group of players that's 28, 29 years old. And for that couple of seasons, you got a bunch of them that are really, really good. Now you look at the longevity of their career, and down the line you say, those guys were bums. He was playing with bums. But during the time that he was playing with those guys, they weren't bums.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
That Sixers team when year they took them to the finals, they formed like Voltron. All those guys, they just
exactly.
Well, yeah, and offensively, Sim, they were inept outside of Iverson, but defensively, they were probably, I think they're number one defensively.
They're the best defensive team that year.
That team defensively was locked down, and also Larry Brown, you know, he loves veterans, and once he gets a veteran team, I know Iverson's a headache, but he's a great coach. You know,
he had Mutombo. He had Mutombo in his great year still.
Well, if you listen to AI's I forgot his last All-Star documentary, he even explains it that like that team was just basically him, and everybody else did all the defensive work. So they worked so that all he has to do is score. He doesn't have to worry about playing defense, and everybody else just defends and he take care of the rest.
Right. I mean, but I'm just saying, it happens like that a lot. But people say, oh, he didn't have anybody with him, and he took this team to there. And a lot of times I think people neglect to see that maybe at that point those players were, really good players in the NBA at that point.
Except for LeBron 07. I would give LeBron that. That was a horrible team. I would give LeBron that.
I'm looking at the Heat team. So Wade really had 2 years where he had pretty much, I wouldn't say nobody, but he had a bunch of like young guys, or they were like really like pure role player veterans. Like at 08-09 team, which was I think the year that Wade had like ridiculous stats. Like he had some ridiculous numbers.
That was after the Olympics, right?
Yeah, right after the Olympics. He had
that was like his best year.
Yeah, but he had the Matrix. He had it for like half a year. He had Haslam, Mario Chalmers, rookie Mario Chalmers, rookie Michael Beasley. Jermaine O'Neal barely played the season. So they got to the playoffs. I don't know how, but I mean they got knocked out by the Hawks, which at the Hawks team that time that was a pretty good Hawks. That was like a solid stacked Hawks team. Yeah, and the year after that, same thing too. They got knocked out by the Celtics, which was like at the peak of their big three prime or whatever. So, I mean, we only really saw 2 years of Wade really without anybody. It's kind of it's I guess we'll never know what he would be like without having anybody on his team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's that's just my opinion. I respect everybody's opinion. Yeah, what's up? What's up, Isaiah?
I just want to say it's good to be back. Yeah, I missed everybody, man. It was a nice long week. Hope everybody's well. Shout out to Viv with the great haircut.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
This guy just always has to bring Joe. Watch, he's gonna say something. Watch. Go ahead, Isaiah. I'm just waiting.
Shout out to Clem. Shout out to you. Shout out to the chat. Abraham Lincoln. Shout out to. Shout out to shout out to Gerbo, 7 feet tall.
Oh man,
looking like African child.
Yeah,
shout out to you, Simeon. With a bucket hat, man. It's been a week, man. I thought you were gonna bring the bucket hat up, man.
This guy,
Sam, it got real bad. Sam,
Still wintertime, man. Still wintertime.
Started looking at your Instagram page, man. I was just so bored. I was out on these streets. I was out in these streets wilding. I would be the dream shake, but man, but it's good to be back, man. Good talking about some Knicks basketball. Got a couple comments about the game. I'm excited. Yo, come on, Gamble.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute myself. I'm sorry, man.
I can't take Gamble serious right now, but I'm glad to be back, man. It's good to have everybody back in the chat.
All right, so Isaiah, so tell me about the game, man. Go ahead and recap this game. Tell me about the game.
You know what, Sim? I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I was frustrated with, and I know people are gonna start saying David Fizdale. Hey, it really isn't. I was really, really upset with David Fizdale because I wholeheartedly didn't understand him not playing Kadeem Allen, having him in street clothes.
He wasn't with the team.
Huh?
He was in the G League, I think.
He was in street clothes.
No, he was there. He was there.
Then they couldn't activate him there. I guess.
I was confused why they had the other kid and not Kadeem play when Kadeem's been playing. Really, to me, right now out of this year, he's been playing the complete package of point guard for us. When it comes to playing defense, passing, and scoring, I didn't understand that. And then, to me, it's no coincidence because from what I've been seeing, we've been averaging about 20-something assists since Moutier's been out. But then to me, the day we get Moutier back, we got 15 assists. No ball movement. Everybody just it was confusing to me that Damyean Dotson ended up with 20 points when he scored 18 points in the first quarter.
Yeah, he just went cold though.
Yeah,
he does get cold, but that was just to me not finding him, not getting him rhythm shots, not getting the ball movement going, not doing double screens, triple screens to get him open. I was just disappointed with the ball movement when it came back to certain players coming back and Kadeem Allen not playing. I was confused by that. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, Damyean Dotson. He we're gonna talk about Damyean Dotson, but he gets we'll talk about him.
Yeah. So hold on. So we can only play 13 guys in the game anyway. So that's probably why Allen couldn't play in the first place. So if we were to have him play, that means either one of. Actually, we could have put that Ellenson guy or whatever. We could have made him inactive, but I guess they wanted to keep him around as back, like insurance if anything crazy happened. But that's the reason why.
I think it was. I think Bondi said that they're trying to preserve.
The 45 day. It's the 45-day rule. Yeah, they're trying to do that too.
They're trying to do what? Say that again.
Oh, they have a 45-day limit, right? So they don't. They're trying. They don't have to play him. They won't play him to preserve the 45 days.
No. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but it was really glaring. Like Isaiah said, we had a huge issue tonight with turnovers, and the veteran point guard to come in, Kadeem Allen, is that, and he's like an above-average veteran point guard. That makes any sense because he can score, he get hot at times, but with him he always controls the ball. Not always, but he does a good job of controlling the ball. And you saw Dennis Smith, Fizdale kind of sat him down today. Kind of went for Moutier, but even Moutier was giving up turnovers, and the offense just came out of sync, especially in the second half. Things like it's just small things, and I'm not trying to harp on too much of these kids. These kids are young. Like one thing with Trier, he legit doesn't know how to catch the ball and shoot. He always has to put the ball on the ground, and that allows the defense to kind of collapse on him. Kevin Knox, just his awareness. I know he's young, but when guys are giving him space to shoot, he drives into two guys and just I don't know what he's doing. So it's small things like that hurt us offensively.
And, someone like Kevin Knox, he's basically a high school kid, man.
That's very true.
It's hard, with Kevin Knox because he's so young. So he's gonna do boneheaded stuff like that. Yeah, I mean we just have a team that's gonna do boneheaded stuff.
To me, Sim, I thought that this game was probably one of the worst ones we've played in a while. Just because we let an older team, like a veteran team especially, we let them kind of outwork us and out-hustle us the entire game. And, there were a lot of things that just stood out that was just wrong. We've had guys Taj Gibson, for example, he had a double-double. Now, I know Taj Gibson's playing, decently well this season, but there is no reason for Taj Gibson to have a double-double with 19 points, 10 rebounds. There's no reason for guys like Andrew Wiggins to have, shoot 3 threes, make 3 for 5 from 3. There's no reason for a guy like Anthony Tolliver to literally have what's basically his best game in 3 years against us. And that's really, that's on Mitchell Robinson. no offense to Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson probably had one of his worst games in a while. And yes, it coincided with Moutier coming back, which I think there's some sort of connection.
Do you
But
think so? You think there's some
yeah, the
connection?
way there's no sync right now, obviously, because A, he just came back, but B, it just doesn't seem to work. Like that, all the spacing and everything's messed up. And
Right.
Mitchell Robinson, he just got torched on the pick and roll, and they just seem to just do basic pick and rolls, and Mitchell Robinson looked lost, and they didn't really go back to it. I mean, I don't know if they tried the zone, but they pretty much didn't do it. And I think the worst part, honestly, I did not like Dennis Smith Jr.'s game the entire game. I mean, if he didn't have the dunk, then I think everyone would probably think he had a pretty forgettable game. He was letting guys get past him all the time. He let Anthony Tolliver get past him at least once or twice. And that's a shameful thing. And he got benched. I know I was keeping track of that. I was like, how long is Dennis Smith Jr. going to get benched in the second half? But I don't blame Fizdale for that because, you have 5 turnovers. I don't care if you have 7. You can have 10 assists all you want, but if you're having 5 turnovers by the time the second half hits, that is no excuse. You're not, you're not James Harden. You're not any of those guards. You cannot have 5 turnovers. And I saw him on the bench too. He just looking like, man, I like, why am I not in the game? Or like, also like he was looking like pouting and all sort of stuff. So
I seen him earlier in the game. Who was it? I don't know. Was it Kevin Knox? It was Kevin Knox or someone. Didn't come to the ball. Maybe it was Noah Vonleh. He start yelling at him.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that? Okay, he started yelling at him to come closer to the ball and get the ball. When I think it was Kevin Knox. And then when the ball when it went down the other way, he began to chirp at him a little bit. I don't know if it was I don't know what they were saying, obviously. Do you think he's doing it because he's pouty?
I don't know. I saw different instances of pouting. I mean, that could be a culmination of different things. I saw, for example, I think when someone had a nice play, I forget what it led to, a Minnesota timeout. Like you just see him, like he is very emotionless on the bench. Like he's not cheering for guys when they make buckets. He's barely like trying to go give a guy a high five on, coming out of the time, like into the timeout. It's like, it's just something or the other. It's almost like emotionless off the bench. And it just makes absolutely no sense. Maybe he thinks he's entitled to play 35 minutes a game, but you're not there yet. You're not. You still have to earn these minutes. You got to earn it just like all these other guards earn their minutes. And that just kind of like that just rubbed me off the wrong way, especially with tonight's game.
Can I explain why? Probably a guy like Dennis Smith Jr. is he's so gifted physically. I think that his physical peak hasn't reached his mental peak, or his mental peak hasn't reached his physical peak, right? So he doesn't get the bigger picture. And 2, he was never bred as a leader, if that makes sense, right? Like this kid,
Right.
NC State, they didn't really, do much, but he was always highly touted. And he doesn't get it yet. He doesn't get that this trade is saying something, or the trade to the Knicks is saying something. Like, you're not as good as you think you are. So you need to improve in other areas. And it takes time for some players, because it takes until they get injured, like terribly injured, or their athleticism fades. And it's like, all right, I have to like find other ways to be effective. And yes, being rah and speaking to guys, being communicative and all that stuff. But it's going to take time. And a guy like that, because he's so emotionally driven, you don't want him to become a recluse, right? So I think it's up to Fizdale. So yes, you have to bench him, but still engage him, give him a chance, but still try to get in his head. Hey, look, engage yourself in the team. Like, be more communicative. Don't be so pouty. Keep your head up, because it speaks to the rest of the team. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to compare, but when Kadeem Allen was out there, killing it for the Knicks, it seems like, that last game he had his career game or 27 points. It seems like the team kind of galvanized around him, and I think that Dennis Smith Jr. has to learn how to get guys to galvanize around him through his play, versus him thinking that he's God's gift to the earth.
Yeah.
Hey, can I say something real quick?
Yep, go ahead.
So, these kind of two things. These kind of moments, and people might laugh, but these are the moments you miss Ron Baker. You really do, because you miss the kid that, at least every time I see Ron Baker, He was always the first one up, always clapping,
Screens.
always scraped, always, anytime Hody hit a big bucket, he always it was just those people don't notice those little things, but those little things really matter. And you miss his grit, you miss his hustle, you miss his unselfishness, you miss all those things that just.
So
he was a player that we always used to say it like Ron. Nobody's playing hard. Go out there, play, and show the other guys how to play hard.
Yeah.
We missed that a lot. And also I wanted to say too about. I thought about this while I was watching the game, and I don't know if you agree with me. Maybe you could start a conversation. But to me, when I watch the Knicks play, I do see individual growth. I don't see team growth. I see Mitchell Robinson getting better. I see Kevin Knox getting better. I see, Trey getting better a little bit. But when I see them, I see individual growth. I don't see team growth. There's yet to be a couple of games where I say, "Wow, this team played beautiful team basketball." And where we got, where we traded a good shot for a great shot, or we kept supporting players that were hot and getting them open rather than just going for myself. Like I said, I see a lot of individual growth. I don't see a lot of team growth, and that's always that's been a little scare about me with David Fizdale. Because I don't even know. I think there's been maybe twice that we broke the 30-point mark of assist. I don't really remember. Maybe I think we had 32 assists one game, but I see a lot of individual growth, but not a lot of team growth. Yeah. And that's the part that's getting me a little scared about the season. Almost coming to an end, that there's still no team growth.
Think about it.
We played better though before the All-Star break though.
Think about it though. It's going to be hard to see any kind of team growth right now.
Right.
You're looking at just look at the starting lineup and who was on the team from the beginning of the year till now. Mm-hmm. Right. In the past couple weeks we have new players on the team. Getting major minutes on the team that weren't here from the beginning of the season. So it's going to be hard to see team growth because we've had an influx of players a little bit already, right? You look at now, you got two new starters. You got Dennis Smith Jr., you got DeAndre Jordan, two new starters. Luke Cornett, I don't know how many games he's played with the team, but he didn't really come to the team until December, the end of December, January, right? And he started. So you got three guys in the starting lineup that two of them weren't even on the team earlier in the season, and Luke was in the G League, right? You got John Jenkins playing. He's just newly signed to a contract. We'll talk about that. So it's going to be hard to see right now. It's going to be hard to see team development.
You saw better play though. I think before the All-Star break, I think the thing that made a difference, in my opinion, is that if you look at Moutier compared to the even Kadeem Allen and Dennis Smith Jr., both those two players, they are relentlessly attacking the paint, and they're able to do it in such a way where they can drive in, they can have defenders collapse to them, and they can just dish it out. So we've got a lot more assists before the All-Star break in those games because they would just drive and kick out. And Moutier just didn't do that, and maybe it's just he's just not that fast. But that part of the game you just didn't see it, or maybe you just not as confident enough to just unleash that or whatever today. But
tonight, when Moutier's return, Dennis Smith Jr. played 21 minutes. Now a lot was due to his turnovers. He had 5 turnovers. He also had 7 assists though. He was 3 for 6 from the field for 7 points. We only played 21 minutes tonight. Emmanuel Moutier played 26 minutes. Is this I'm interested to see how this works out. Really, he played 21 minutes. Emmanuel Moutier, Dennis Smith Jr. tonight, 7 points, 7 assists, 5 turnovers, 2 steals. Emmanuel Moutier, 15 points. He shot 37.5% from the field, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. He had 4 turnovers. Okay.
Yeah, look at Trier.
But he just can be valid.
That's looking at from the point guard spot. why did Moutier get? I mean, is it can it really be because of the turnovers? Well, he also had 4 turnovers, right? He only had 1 assist. Dennis Smith Jr. had 7 assists. Yeah, he had 5 turnovers, but that's just 1 more than Emmanuel Moutier. So what's the reason that Dennis Smith Jr. was benched down the stretch?
Oh, I just think that defense in the beginning of the third quarter marked the end of his game. I mean, that, when they came out so slow to start that third quarter, that's when they benched him. And that after that, I just think Fizdale is like, all right, we don't care about, obviously, he didn't care. Let's see what happens. I don't think it's an indicator of what's going to happen. He just didn't care anymore. Like, all right, Dennis Smith Jr. didn't play that well to put it back in the game. We're not winning this game, so might as well see what happens.
I mean,
That's what
I guess it's just, I don't know. I mean, I guess.
Hey, Gammo.
Yo.
It's a plot twist. David Fizdale is actually the prince.
I think Sick is still here.
I'm live? I'm still.
Yeah, he's still live. See that? Prince heard you too. He's probably on here somewhere.
So I'm not going. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I mean, hey, listen, man. When I was on Bleacher Report like a couple of days ago, and I remember they said Ian Bagley said they were going to start Moutier and Dennis Smith Jr. And I just started laughing because I'm just like,
well, I don't know if they said they was going to start them. They said that they wouldn't be opposed to them. That Fizdale would be opposed to playing the 2 together. I don't know how that would. Wow. I don't know how that would work.
That's not gonna work.
I don't see that working defensively or offensively because neither one of them is a shooter, right? Neither one of them is an outside. Someone who's gonna really consistently knock it down from the outside. I don't see how that works at all. You know what I mean? I don't see how that works.
That'd be worse than who? That's gonna be worse than who's my cable, man. That's gonna be more shaky than who's my cable.
I had as a question. As we're
he's gonna be a free agent.
Yeah, as we're looking into this deeper, I had as a question on the cover of the video whether or not Fizdale was holding players more accountable. Looking at it, I just feel like he just went with, you know what, I'm gonna go with Moutier. He just went with it.
That's what it seemed like.
The game, whatever it was. I don't know, because I know, Viv, I know what you're saying. You're saying, the start to the third quarter really sealed Dennis Smith Jr.'s fate. But when I go back and I'm looking at it, I mean, it's just not too much difference in their play, as far as I'm concerned. I mean,
there's no difference, but then it just connects to your point, right? Like, he was not playing that well, and obviously Moutier wasn't playing much better. But it was at the point, if Dennis Smith Jr. is not playing that well to get these minutes, then Fizdale's going to be like, okay, let's see what he has. Let's see if he's still, how his conditioning is.
Yeah, I guess.
But the thing I wonder about is, why is it that you made this point earlier, Sim? Why is it that when Dennis Smith Jr. and Kadeem Allen are in, they get the alley-oops and they get the ball to Mitch Robinson a lot easier than Moutier? And I think I don't know what it is. It's a weird thing. I feel like when Moutier drives, he kind of keeps his head down, but at the last minute he looks to pass to maybe the guys on the perimeter, versus Dennis Smith Jr. Like when Moutier drives, he's kind of like, it's just from point A to point B, kind of beat your man. But Dennis Smith Jr. he tries to get in front of his man and then keeps doing a little stutter dribble and sees how the big man that's on Mitchell kind of reacts. Him and Kadeem Allen.
Yeah. Dennis Smith. It's like Dennis Smith Jr. can kind of see where it might go beforehand. It's like when he's penetrating or whatever. A lot of point guards do it.
I think when he's penetrating, he's looking for a dunk almost. So it's he's kind of looking at that vision forward thinking, where Moutier, he's not looking to actually score. When he's looking to attack, he's just like he almost seems lost.
No, but Moutier, I think that Dennis Smith Jr., I don't know the numbers. I could be wrong. Someone tell me. Or at least a percentage, because Dennis Smith Jr. hasn't played as much as Moutier. But I feel like Moutier gets the ball. Dennis Smith Jr. gets the ball better to Mitch and the big guys than Moutier does.
Oh, it does.
No,
definitely.
I agree.
Okay, my bad.
I definitely agree with you, because there's been too many games with Moutier where he got 15 points, 1 assist, 13 points, 2 assists, 14 points, 3 assists. He has way too many games of having those kind of low assist numbers and turnovers. I do agree with Dennis Smith Jr. At least with Dennis Smith Jr., he'll kick out and he'll get the open shooter. We just miss it. He has a way better chance than Moutier. And again, I was just really confused with Fizdale not playing Kadeem Allen, but not even playing the kid that was supposed to play. That kid we just picked up for the 10-day contract that was actually suited to play.
Jenkins?
No, it wasn't Jenkins. It was the other kid that was suited.
Ellington.
That made me more. That made me like Fizz. We got a point guard that actually did a season high, and you sit him for the kid, and you don't even play the kid. Yeah. Those are the things that really like for 2 weeks. I'm like, okay. Fizz is getting it. Fizz is growing. Then he does this to start to play Moutier. And what happened? They both.
He was in Westchester. I thought he wasn't actually. He was actually in Westchester.
The only thing that I say is, sometimes the NBA is a funny business with weird rules, and sometimes you got to do, little things. Who knows? I don't know. But this, with Smith and Moutier, it's going to be worth watching. And when Frank comes back, I don't even think Frank's going to play the point guard position when he comes back. I think he's going to be playing off guard somewhere. It's either going to be at a 2 or a 3. I don't think he's going to play the point guard. It's going to be Smith and Moutier, and Frank will be playing, the 2 and the 3, going back and forth between the 2 and the 3. And maybe sometimes if someone is in foul trouble, or if someone is hurt, whatever it is, then he'll play the point guard spot.
This kid's been jerked around more than anybody else on that team.
I think that all of our guys from 1 to 3 position, they all need to know how to facilitate on this team.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Knox. He needs to know how to facilitate. I'm not talking about he just dribbles up past the half court line and hands it off. I really think that if Fizdale's going to have a offense it's predicated on ball facilitation, he needs to have it where his 1 to 3 can facilitate the offense. Whether it's to drive to the basket on their man, beat their man to the basket, whether it's to delay pick and roll, whether it's to pass it out to perimeter guys if guys collapse them after the drive. Or look for the guy, wait for somebody to set a pick around and make the proper pass. Every guy from 1 to 3 on this team, because it gets annoying because when you watch our offense, it's for the most part it's predictable in regards to how it's going to set up, right? The guard's going to have the ball. He's either one looking for maybe, which I'll give it today. There was a lot more movement I saw today off ball, but we have that little spurts of that, or it's mostly the guard trying to facilitate something and activate something. And it's like, when Knox get the ball, he's either going to shoot or just drive to the basket. It's not him trying to facilitate. It's him not trying to add a ring to his game. So he needs to take a book. I know it sounds crazy, but say the Sixers, how they use, what's this guy's name? Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
Knox is not Simmons. I'm not saying that. But when you watch that game, when you watch that team, you watch them, you watch the Warriors, you can't just sit here and say every time it's coming down to the basket, Curry's going to have the ball. Or every time coming down the basket, Simmons is going to have the ball. They add wrinkles to the game to make it more unpredictable. So,
but Gilmore, you got to remember, Gilmore, they play a brand of selfless basketball that we don't play yet. We don't have the team that trust each other that we have. Knox doesn't need nobody to make the shot.
Well, I think the problem is right now is that Wade, ever since the trade, we have Dennis Smith Jr. handling the ball 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And in order to actually in order to make Knox a better ball handler, that ratio has to go from 90% to more like, 60% or like, somewhere less than that. And that's, I don't know. For Knox to do it, that means Dennis Smith Jr. has to do the same thing too. He has to learn how to be effective off the ball too. So that's going to happen.
So can I ask you a question?
But Viv, he's trash when he's not on the ball.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the problem. That's the problem with a lot of players.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. I'm gonna send. I got a Coaching for Dummies book here. I'm gonna email it to Fizz. Maybe it helps out a little.
Hey Sim, I got a question. Do you run this? I had a coach, even though my team was absolute garbaggio in high school.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that he did do, my coach, rest in peace. But one thing that he did do was that he would have the guards, right? They'd start the play, right? And they have a guy dribbling, we'd scrimmage, right? And then he'd stop the guard, literally make him either turn around and close his eyes and then tell him in the past, like 2 seconds or whatever, what did you just see happen down the court as you were dribbling the ball?
I do the same exact things with my point guard. We'll be in the middle of the play, and I'll say pause, and I'll say close your eyes, and then I tell them to try to picture, because if you're looking at something and you close your eyes, there's an image in your head that's there. So I tell them, close your eyes now. Tell me where certain players are and what they're supposed to be doing, and I'll have the point guard point it out. I do it all the time. To just try to get them to see that court vision. And what happens is the point guard start to look at it, because they want to be able to answer that question when you get ready to do it. And they learn to take a quick snapshot of who's where, so that they know how to distribute the ball. Yeah, I definitely do that. Hey, give me a second. I'm gonna run down. I'm gonna keep you guys live, but I'm gonna run down really quick the box score and everything of the game, and then we're gonna get on. I want to talk about Damyean Dotson. All right. Just running down the box score of the game really quick, folks. We were talking about Dennis Smith Jr. and Emmanuel Mudiay. Once again, Dennis Smith Jr., 7 points, 7 assists, 5 turnovers, 1 rebound, 2 steals. He only played 21 minutes.
Chat. The Prince is here.
Damyean Dotson. Damyean Dotson had 20 points. You guys are still live, by the way. Damyean Dotson had 20 points, 20 points all in the first half. 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 7 for 16 from the field. DeAndre Jordan had 16 points and 19 rebounds. Blocks. Luke Cornett had no points. 1 rebound. Kevin Knox had 18 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. He had 3 turnovers, 1 steal. I think I said Emmanuel Mudiay already. Well, I'll go back to him. Noah Vonleh, he had 8 points, 5 rebounds. Emmanuel Mudiay, 15 points, 6 rebounds. His first game back from injury. Alonzo Trier had 20 points, 3 rebounds. Mitchell Robinson, no points, 2 rebounds. Only played 13 minutes. John Jenkins played 8 minutes. He didn't do much. Mario Hezonja and Lance Thomas did not play at all. A quick look at the matchups. The Knicks were up after the first quarter, 33-29. They gave up 37 points in the second quarter. Down at the half, third quarter, the Timberwolves won the third quarter, 28-25, and then the fourth quarter was tied, 21-21. The Knicks could never regroup themselves after that second quarter. The Knicks' biggest lead was 8. The biggest lead for the Timberwolves is 19. The Timberwolves shot 46% from the field, 45.8% from 3, 68% from the stripe. The Knicks, 42.5% from the field, 37.9% from 3, 79% from the stripe. They were 19 for 24. The Knicks won the rebounding battle. Only 15 assists tonight. I think we mentioned that earlier. And, we had been getting over 20, 21, 22 assists per game the past few games. Now we're back, we went back down to 15. 9 steals, 8 blocks. We had 20 turnovers tonight. I thought on the telecast they said 22, but we had 20 turnovers tonight. Compared to the Timberwolves only had 13. Timberwolves had 9 blocks, 13 steals, and 22 assists. That's kind of the story of the game.
Kevin Garnett was playing?
You said Kevin Garnett. Looking at the Timberwolves, who stood out for the Timberwolves? Taj Gibson had 19 points, 10 rebounds. Jeff Teague had 12 points and 11 assists. Derrick Rose, who is having a resurgent year. You got to give him that. He's having a resurgent. He had 20 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists.
We really beat ourselves tonight, man.
7 rebounds. Yeah, I mean, we beat ourselves every night.
You're all the Knicks.
I'm telling you, we got that who's marked defense with the internet.
We had 4 players combined for 16 turnovers. Come on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kadeem.
Yeah. So that's that. Dotson. What's up with Damyean Dotson, man? Damyean Dotson, 20 points in the first half.
Because he tries to force it.
Yeah.
That's his problem. He gets hot, and then the moment they do an adjustment, he doesn't know how to counter the adjustment just yet.
Yeah.
So, when they tried to force him to drive, he was just still trying to take the same shots he was taking in the first quarter. Obviously, he's going to miss it. So, he has to find a way to get hot in another way, in another manner.
Yeah, he has to understand his game, but and it was what I got on Hardaway about. Now, I'm not saying he's not Hardaway, but when you're shot, yes, you were white hot in the first first quarter or first half, whatever. But after you missed that second shot, that three that just looked off, even though you had a decent look, you got to start driving the basket, and you got to just let your shot come back to you. It's always going to come back to you. You're a good shooter, but you got to start driving the basket. That's the thing. Like, he can drive to that. He's not slow. He's not shifty in it by any means, but he's quick. He can get to the hoop. He can lay it up, and he needs to start incorporating that more. Or even just the dribble, stop, and shoot. Like, he needs to stop trying to – because, I mean, look, he was hitting some ridiculous shots in the first half. I think he just got too married to that, if that makes any sense. The best players, you watch a guy like Paul George, he might shoot, white hot, lose a little bit, but he's never going to give you the same looks on offense. He's always going to try to mix it up. I don't want to say Harden, but the best players, Durant, I mean, like, he can score in a myriad of ways, and if he goes cold, he's going to try something else. So I think that Dotson, you just have to find a feel for your games. I'm not going to get him too much, but
he just doesn't have a plethora of moves.
Right.
And something that Dotson does that sometimes gets on my nerves a little bit. He drives into traffic and turns it over. He does that maybe once a game, it seems like.
Yeah, that's just more of just trying to do way too much that he's not capable of doing.
But he does it a lot. He drives in the trap. He'll drive right down the center lane, and two guys to collapse on him. Just watch it. He does it once a game at least. It seems like, but
it's a Knicks staple, Sim.
He doesn't have a plethora of moves, and I don't think I don't know how much he works on, having different go-to moves and this and that. But Damyean Dotson is basically a jump shooter, right?
Yeah.
You might be able to catch him slashing to the basket. He's not going to be a guy that's going to create for you off the dribble that much. And I don't think he should be relied upon that way because I don't think he has that skill. He just doesn't have that skill. So he plays. I had a kid on one of my AAU teams, and he might be watching. If he's watching, or if my son or something is watching, he'd probably tell him I'm talking about.
Hey, what's up, Joe? That's my guy.
He was kind of like that, except he didn't have a jump shot. Right, we had one game. We were in Pittsburgh, man, and he made a couple jumpers, and the other coaches on the other team was calling him. He's the shooter. He was happy as ever. We went. After we left the game, he was like, "Coach, they were calling me the shooter. Told you I could shoot." I was like, "Felix, you made like 2 shots. You made like 2 threes. Don't get too happy." But he played a lot like Dotson. He didn't have a lot of moves. He could go to the basket with a lot of speed, had some aggression. He could play great defense. But offensively, he didn't have a lot. He got his offense from other people creating for him or getting on a fast break or him slashing to the basket. That's how I kind of see Dotson. And I think that's the kind of role that he's going to fill.
See, you know what?
I look at the way he plays, and do I want to say athleticism? A lot of people think athleticism is just jumping, but it's more than that, right? Athleticism is, the way
muscles.
The way you contort your body and different things like that, right? You can move your body in different ways. You're flexible. It's not just jumping in the air. He's not one of those kind of guys that's like super athletic. He can jump, but he's not super athletic where he's gonna jump and he can move the ball around you and do all those type of things. So I don't think he's ever gonna be one of those guys that you actually be able to give the ball to and say, okay, go get a bucket. I don't think he'll ever be that.
You know what?
Hey, but what his success is going to be predicated on, right? That's going to be on Fizdale, right? That's all. He's a system guy. Like I said before, he's a good system guy. He'll give you, I mean, he get hot. He'll have these games. You might have a game where he'll give you 40 points, where he gets white hot, but that's because, you know, he's going to have that type of game, one, because he can shoot, but two, he has to get open looks, and that's coming from Fizz. Now, he did get open looks in the second half. It wasn't like he was just chucking up shots in front of guys' faces in the second half, but, you know, he just fell for the shot a lot. But, Fizdale has to do a better job, you know, throughout the season. It's not just this game, but he has to do a better job of getting guys just open looks. You know, I mean, it's not even just Dotson, it's Knox. And I think more so just on Knox, it's like, you know, take what the defense is giving you. You know, they're giving you space to shoot. Shoot the damn ball. Do not drive. Don't drive into traffic. Trier, you know, it sucks because Trier had a bunch of good looks today where I thought the ball moved around well and it got to him, and he has a Carmelo syndrome, right? He has to put the ball on the ground. Like, he cannot just shoot the ball off the pass. He has to do a triple threat dribble sometimes. It's like, dude, just shoot the freaking ball. You are open. So it's on Fizdale to get these guys in their head. Look, when you get the ball and get an open shot and you can shoot the damn shot.
He's not that kind of player, man. He needs to get those rhythm dribbles in. Yeah, I don't know if it.
That limits really how good he can be, though.
He needs to get those rhythm dribbles in. I don't know if it's ever going to change. We'll see. But
hey, Sam, to piggyback what Guillermo said real quick, you know, you're right, because I remember there was plenty of games when Kevin Knox was going through his little hot stretch where he would have a great first half, and then it was on him, but it was also on the players too, and on Fizdale to get him the ball in the second half. And there's been a couple games where Knox would. I remember the Atlanta game. Knox scored 17 points, and then only ended up with 24 points the rest of the game. That's just, to me, that's one, a lack of players having the knowledge to get the hot player open. Two, Fizdale not telling them to get him open. Three, and Knox not being dominant about getting the ball and just giving me the damn ball and doing what I got to do. You know, it's just about, we got to get these players open, and then Fizdale's got to find a ways. Because even today, I was happy I seen a couple double screens. It's been a long time since we've seen double screens.
It's more than just getting open, right? It's about getting active on the floor. Like, if you're involved in a play, then you're gonna have a better chance. Once you get the ball, you're gonna have a better chance of shooting a high efficient, you know, shot. Like, the problem what we see a lot is, like, especially now that, you know, Dennis Smith Jr. handles the ball a lot, is that players just wait for the ball. And the moment when you wait for the ball, then you just become a hit or miss type of shooter. So you can have stretches where you just come hot, you know, you just make every single three or whatever. But then there's gonna be a stretch where you don't get the ball, and you come off the bench. You're on the bench for a while. You come back off the bench, and then it's like, you know, 7 or 8 minutes since you've actually had the ball, you know, in your hands, and you're doing absolutely nothing. You're just waiting for the ball. Right. Every time you're like waiting there for the ball, you know, it becomes a lot harder to make shots. So it's important for the players to get involved some sort of way, whether it's, you know, cutting, whether it's, you know, setting screens, whatever it is. Get involved in the play. You'll get the ball, and you'll get a better shot out of it. And it's a combination. It's a combination of, like what you said, Isaiah. Just getting open is one part. Second part is getting active in the play. And if you can do the combination of both, then, you know, you'll be fine.
You know what one of the most underrated things, Steph Curry, that nobody talks about? This kid, this dude, I almost never seen a player run as much as he does, and just continues running to get an open shot. I look at the Knicks offense, and there's been so many times where I'm like, why are we not moving? We're literally all just standing in a corner waiting. And then, Sim, you know, here's one thing that just literally pisses me off about Alonzo Trier. I'm just like, kid, you're not going to last long in this league if you keep doing this. You can't beat every player. You can't do it. This is the NBA. You can't beat every player. These guys are just as good as you, even better. You can't beat your opponent every time off the dribble and do a mid-range shot. You can't drive these. I seen today, we had a 24-second violation because what did he do? He just dribble. And it's like, I get so mad because I see the potential that Zoe has, but it's just like, this kid, man, he just, I don't.
But you know what's scary? You know what's scary, bro? What does Sim say, man? That's scary about it. These guys are high school players, man.
Yeah.
They're literally high school players. So like, I agree with you 100%.
But Demo, the difference is Zoe's not a high school player. He's 22.
Yeah, but he spent did he spend 2 years at Arizona?
He spent 3 years. He was 3 years.
He was junior.
3 years. He spent 3 years in Arizona.
So that's
I
the
take
difference.
that back then.
So
I
that's the part that scares me.
See, this is the thing. People don't understand like how the history of players impacts what they do today. If you just look back at his history,
That's actually a really good.
right? He played for like a homeschool team, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was just all homeschool players. I mean, undoubtedly, he was the best player. Probably not going to be a lot of great coaching there, right? And a homeschool team is basically all kids that are homeschooled, and then a coach puts together a team, and they go out and they play other teams. He went from there to one private school, and then he went to one private school here in Maryland, actually, and then he went from there to another private school back over in Nevada, right? So now you get a lot of jumping around from place to place. You're gonna have different levels of coaching, maybe some not coach, much coaching at all, and sometimes, especially, when you got some of these type of schools, coaches aren't going to. If you're the best player on the team, coach sometimes ain't gonna say anything to you. Especially, they're not gonna say nothing to you. They're not gonna tell you you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. They're gonna let you play because they're winning. So they're gonna let you do what you do, not realizing that it could impact you later on in your career. I think Zoe he's one of those guys that's used to having the ball in his hands too and using a lot of dribbles. And it's hard when a player plays like that. It's hard to break that.
Right. It's very hard to break it.
It's very hard to break that. I mean, dribbling gets contagious. You know what I'm saying? And it's just hard to break that habit of dribbling a lot and getting your rhythm before you can do anything. I mean, look, let's put it like this. I mean, Kyrie can play off the ball, but he dribbles a lot too. You know what I'm saying? It's just that Kyrie is so good, but he dribbles a lot too, right? It's just no one can stop Kyrie.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Trier, or actually the proper way to say it is Trier, I think. But anyhow, he got away with like shooting such a high percentage in the final year. He had the ball a lot, like you said. It's just like the real transition is can he develop a spot up? Can he develop the spot up jump shot in his arsenal of moves? And if he can develop the spot up jump shot, that means teams will at least know that you can respect it in some sort of way.
Yeah. And,
so, but I expect I don't want to blame too much of that. Like again, that's gonna come over the course of time.
Right now you gotta kind of take what he gives. And then give him a plan to develop over the summer, which hopefully.
Because to be quite honest, like he's played with like almost it feels like he's played like 10 different guards, right? Yeah. In this rookie season. He started with Moutier, and then you got Tim Hardaway, Trey Burke, Frank, Kadeem Allen, Dennis Smith Jr.
Yeah.
But Dotson. The list goes on. Ron Baker, I don't know. Like there's the number of guards he had to play and try to work himself around with is just it's kind of crazy. And that's an indictment for all the guards too, but really all the players. But it's him just trying to find his place. And I think
let me respond to something real quick.
Sorry.
Alwyn, I see Alwyn in the chat. He said, if he's talking about Trier, he said if Trier, has a basketball IQ, then he'll learn to adapt. And you're right, he will learn to adapt. But he's probably not going to learn to do it in one season. Just to give people an idea of what it takes to build a habit. It takes 21 days of you doing a skill consistently for that to become a habit. 21 days for it to become a habit, right? Of you doing it every single day, repetitiously for 21 days. So that doesn't mean 21 days like, okay, I did it here, I did then I missed a week, then I did 2 days here, then I missed a week, then I did 2 days here. No, it takes 21 days every single day for you to build a skill and make it become a habit. So now imagine how long it takes for you to break a habit that you've been doing for years. Basketball is built on muscle memory, right? So that's the reason why when they say you don't want players thinking on the court, it's not that they don't want players thinking about the game. They don't want players thinking about the move that they're going to do next. Of course, they want players to strategize. They want the team to be able to run actions and stuff without thinking. But there's certain times when you do have to think, of course, on the court and make good decisions. But for the most part, you know, players play the basketball game from muscle memory. Your muscles remember how to do it, right? And that's what the habit is. So naturally, your body does something without your brain thinking about it, and that's what makes it happen easy. When you have to think about the move you're gonna do, most of the time you're probably gonna turn the ball over. So with Trier right now, it's his muscle memory to dribble and take those rhythm dribbles. That's what his muscles are telling him to do without even thinking. That's just what his muscles telling him to do. You know what I mean? It's going to take time for him to practice another skill. That's why the summertime, that's why the off season is so important for every player's development, because you can get those 21 days of practicing a skill, right? So that you can, you know, and then you need to play so you can implement it in a game. It takes time. You know, it's just not going to happen over one season, because during the season, you don't get that much practice time. Now, I know, you know, you might say, well, these players, you know, they're not working during, you know, they play their games during the night. They got days off where they can go practice those skills. But still, it's still not 21 consecutive days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a habit too.
Hard.
So there's more than 21 to get it. Like you develop the habit, then you got to get it. Then you got to master it, right?
Exactly.
And it's really almost like it's probably longer. Like that's why, you know, players, if they can learn more than 2 different moves a year, that's probably like every offseason. That's probably, you know, that's probably a lot.
That's realistic. People, you know what it is though. You know, so you're saying all that, and people don't understand. And this is what I think people don't understand: the hard work that players do put in all year long to be better, just so they can learn a move or two. And people think, oh, well, that should be easy. Well, I mean, you just explained it. It takes 21 days, and you know they have people. These people they're human. That's like they have a life outside of basketball too. Mm-hmm. So you're expecting people to people gotta understand, these guys are millionaires. These guys are trying to establish generational wealth, trying to have their business, trying to, you know, have their families. So it's like, you got to separate work and business. So, you know, it takes time.
You got community stuff. You got this. You got that. I mean, and also you can't just. You got to get away from the game too. You can't just hoop all year round. Otherwise, you know, you're gonna burn out. I mean, you gotta step away for like a little bit, and then, you know, re-energize yourself, refocus. And
I mean, some people, like, you know, I remember last year, I think Frank took maybe 2 weeks off. He went to France for like 2 weeks, then he was right back here, or took, you know, 3 weeks, you know, and it's like other players. I know LeBron takes, like, I think he goes a month maybe, I think, without touching a basketball. Then he goes back, and then, you know, again, like I said, man, it's just, people got to really understand that these guys are humans too. We're all the same. They're just super tall and athletic. So people got to, you know, just remember that and just take it. Don't just think people, they're like, oh, if they learn 1 move or 2 moves, they're just being lazy. That's just a complete lie. You know, you're just looking at it on one side. These guys are humans. They have lives, they have families, and they have loved ones, and they have businesses. And sometimes, like, you know, like you said, Viv, these guys want to get away from the game too. It's a lot, man. These guys go through.
It's not even they get away from the game, but they kind of need to, because in order to actually get better, you got to step back for 1 second, and then you got to look at
right,
you know.
But you know, so I mean, long story short, it's gonna take these guys. You know, it takes guys time to. I mean, some players it doesn't, right? That those great players who were just super duper gifted. You know, it doesn't.
Hey, can I say something real quick?
Doesn't take as much time. Like David Fizdale was saying about Dwyane Wade. they'd go and they'd work on a move before the game, and then you see him doing it during the game. Most players can't do that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we shouldn't expect these guys to be able to do it.
Right. I mean, they're in the end we're talking about really 21-year-old kids, 20-year-old kids.
Yeah. So yeah. Go ahead, Isaiah. I'm gonna move on to the next thing, but go ahead.
I just read a comment. I just read a comment. It was from Blue Demon, and he said Frank takes too much time off. Come on, man. That's ridiculous. People, like, if you followed Frank last year, he literally took 2 weeks off to go back to his country to see his mother and to see his family. And then he was right back in the States 2 weeks later, working on the game. And he's been in the States since those 2 weeks. So stop saying that's ridiculous. Stop acting like these players don't.
We'll see.
Work hard,
I don't even. I mean,
ridiculous.
he's only had 1 summer off, so we don't know what he's gonna do. He's only had 1 summer off.
Some of these guys are crazy, man.
So look, the Knicks signed Jenkins, right? What's your take on? I mean, what do you think? They signed John Jenkins. Let me see. What's his contract for 2 years?
It's like the trade contract from
team
last year.
option.
No, it's not team option. It's actually a 2 years. It's a partially. They have like they have like a trigger date for the guarantee. It's the same deal they gave guys like Burke last year. They gave various people but basically what it happens is that, all right, if he's all right, cool. If he sucks, you waive him, and if you want to trade him, you can trade him. So really, the real value comes if you want to trade him,
right?
In any sort of deal, you can add him as a filler.
You can add him as a filler, yeah. And that could come into play when we start, when we get later on into.
Yeah, that comes into play if we're making a big trade later on, and you need to fill this contract.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, he didn't do much today, right? I mean, he played more minutes before his contract, before he got the contract, than after the contract. After he got his contract, he didn't play. He played 8 minutes tonight, or something like that.
Yeah.
Fizdale always confuses me with his lineups, though. But
he'll get minutes. I don't see him being like that crazy shooter he was in the G League. I mean, he may, but I don't see it. He'll get minutes.
It was a good signing. Yeah, he hit a couple shots, but again, I think this was to me a little bit of the Kadeem Allen effect of him getting those good shots. He was hoping he was doing, getting the right passes and everything. It's a decent signing. We'll see how it goes. And I think like Viv said, if he's good, we keep him. If he's not, we don't. So we're fine either way.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if he's used, how much that comes into play when we start talking about trades come, draft time. I mean,
right.
I mean,
right.
I mean, if we get the number 1 pick, I doubt. Like if we go to New Orleans way, I doubt they really care about John Jenkins. They're probably just most likely going to look at like Knox.
Not about it being John Jenkins, but as filler, like.
Do you remember the Chris Paul trade last year? That they used guys like in Jenkins situation, people that the Clippers signed to non-guaranteed deals or whatever. They added them in the filler for the Chris Paul trade.
Right.
That's the reason you have a guy like Jenkins on the roster.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to say this Utah OKC game is really good, by the way.
Yes.
This is a great game.
Is it?
Yeah, man, this is a really good game. But
give me 1 second. I gotta give myself a shameless plug here. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and hit the notification bell so you can get a notification whenever that I go live or drop a video or anything like that. So just do me that solid. Hit that notification button. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. Because we got some things that's going to be coming up. March Madness is right around the corner, guys.
Yes, sir.
And along with March Madness, our own debate tournament is going to go hand in hand with March Madness. So March is going to be busy. We're going to have our own little debate tournament. You know, it's something that a couple guys, you know, sent me some stuff so that we can, so that they can be part of the debates. And I'm going to have a whole tournament bracket set up, so that should be fun. And we're also going to have, we're going to do some in-depth coverage on players from the draft. Just some really in-depth coverage on players from the draft. So we're going to get that started. Not tonight, but next stream. You know, that coverage of the draft. We're really going to start, breaking down players. We're going to have our own little war room and all that kind of stuff, so we can discuss and break down players. So it should be fun. So again, like I said, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Right, hit that notification bell so you get a notification whenever I go live or drop a video. Hit me with a thumbs up. All right. Next question. Speaking of March Madness,
you know who we following.
You guys all seen Zion's injury,
Mm-hmm.
right? You've seen his injury, and I just throw the question out there. How does we don't, I guess right now what they say is a sprained knee. It's a sprain, right?
Yeah, the sprained. What is this? Sprained. Just a regular knee sprain. Grade 1 knee sprain.
A grade 1 sprain.
Yeah.
A grade 1 knee sprain.
Yeah. So it's like the most minor knee sprain.
Right. So, for any team that's in position to draft him, how do you think it impacts them?
Probably not much. I think this is just more. Luckily, it's only grade 1. If it was anything more severe, it might give teams some question. But I don't see this being. I think the reason. I mean, this injury is a crazy one, anyways, because it looked like he only really injured himself because the shoe exploded.
The shoe.
The Paul George experience, baby.
The what?
They calling it the Paul George experience with the shoes now.
Oh yeah, I mean, but yeah, I don't know. If it was anything more severe than grade 1, then maybe it would put a question. I actually thought it was actually a lot worse than what it looked like than it was showed on TV. But luckily, Zion only came out of it just a sprain.
Yeah. I'm glad. I'm glad for him.
Yeah.
Glad for him.
Can I get a little 2-second rant? Sim, a little bit. 2 seconds.
Hold up. I don't want to go off.
Well, no, it's about Zion. It's about Zion.
Right. Yeah, is it relevant?
No, it is relevant.
I think.
Come on, man. Don't do that. Don't do that.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see if it's relevant. If it's not relevant, I got my trigger right over the remove button. So if it's not relevant, I'm hitting it.
All right, man. I got you. No, well, Sim, when I watched, when I watched the game, I think that game marked an important day in college and basketball history, because now it started a debate of should he not play, should he play, should he get paid. This went back to should he get paid, in which I think we all agree that they should get paid, because what the NCAA is doing right now is, to me, it's modern day slavery, in my opinion, of this small. I'm calling it. What you say, son?
No, go ahead.
I'm calling it a small investment because, these kids, you're giving them I think a Duke tuition is maybe $45,000 for a year.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving them $45,000 for $1 billion business, and it's just like, pay these kids. There should be no reason why Zion can't work. And it's just ridiculous that you're telling a kid in America that at 18 you can't work, but you can work for free while we make billions off you. That's just, to me, modern day slavery. And it's just a shame that these kids that are NBA, for kids like Zion that are NBA ready, they should just go out. They should just be able to play. It's no point. We seen it the first 5-10 games that he was NBA ready. It's just a shame that these kids are getting forced to play a year and maybe get hurt and not getting money. And a lot of these young black kids come from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these kids come from the inner cities, or I don't really know about Zion's real deep history, but he's from, I think, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
He's from the country, so it's just like, there's not a lot of opportunity for a lot of them, and then they don't get paid, and it's like Coach K gets paid $14 million, and I know they get free food and that's.
Yeah, now I think there's two sides to the story, right? I agree with you 100% that the NCAA need to change a lot with their rules, in my opinion. I think they need to change a lot. But here's going to be the issue. Here's going to be the issue that I think, when we start talking about paying NCAA players. If you pay NBA, well, let me back up. How do I want to say it? I'm trying to make sure I had the right words. Okay. If you pay NCAA players, you can't just pay them. It has to be. You can't just pay them. It has to be like a stipend, or they say, the school gives them, fund, however the school wants to word it, but it can't be pay. You know what I mean? But I get that, right? I get that. Now, if players start to utilize, what is it? The G League and other professional leagues right after high school, then I could tell you what, in the NBA, the college basketball is going to slide a little bit. If your best players begin to, go to the G League for a year or go to playing other professional leagues for a year, NCAA is going to slide. Now, I think a lot of this is going to be, it's going to change, because the NBA Players Association, they're looking at changing the rules so that players can enter the league out of high school, right? So, if players can enter the league out of high school, some of these guys are going to go to the league, and then, college is, college took a dip for a while. Now it's kind of come back a little bit, because you got players, everyone watches the one and done guys to see if they're going to, get drafted to the NBA and all that kind of stuff. If players can now go to the NBA, there's going to be less one and done guys. There's going to be more guys staying in school until their junior year, maybe even their senior year, which means there's going to be less money going into the NCAAs, and players are not going to get paid, right? But I don't know. So I don't want to say, and maybe paying them is not the right. It's not the right words. So we don't want to say pay them, but they should get some kind of stipend. That can take care of food and all those type of things, because they say, well, they're getting they're getting free education, and I guess they're getting free education. But let's be real, if they're a one and done player, they're not getting any education. They do just enough so that they can make it through that first semester, and then the second semester they're not doing anything. So how much education are they really getting? Now that's on the player, right? That's on the player. They could take advantage of that education. But the schools are definitely taking advantage of the kids. They're definitely taking advantage of their supers, because Zion Williamson is already a star. That Duke UNC game, I seen it somewhere.
The second highest tickets.
Yeah, well, $2,000.
Obama was at the game,
right? That's crazy money. That's crazy money. But you just have to be careful. And I see some people, and they're like, pay them. Yeah, you're right. But you got to be careful about the words that you use. Because college athletics is supposed to be amateur sports, amateur athletics. If you say
that's the tricky part about this whole situation,
right?
I mean, it's I mean, so, like you're saying, it's amateur sports, and I think, it's supposed to be like amateur sports. But then the problem is, does every school have to pay their players? And then
exactly, because some schools not going to be able to afford. Like Duke, they can afford to pay their players. You get a small little school somewhere that's a Division I school, they can't afford to give their players no money.
Right.
Well, that's understandable. But my thing is this though.
But how do you decide? How do you decide who gets paid? How do you, right? I mean, how do you make it fair for everyone? Because
how do you make sure that the corruption and stuff doesn't still, like the bribery and stuff, issues happen because players don't get paid. So
yeah, I mean, how do you do it? Because there's some Division I schools that they have to go out and fundraise, and they ride these rickety buses all over the place. I mean, there's some schools like that. So how do you make it fair? In the NBA and professional leagues, they have a minimum salary that players can get. Why? Because teams can afford to make these payments. Teams can afford to pay the players. How do you make that fair in the NCAA? Right? When you got a school like Duke that has billions of dollars to pay their players because of the high profile players they're getting. And then you got schools who they don't get on TV. They stream all their games on YouTube so that their fans can see it. Right? Because they don't have no money. So how do you make it fair for all the players?
Right. And I mean, if the problem is if certain players go to one school, if they're getting more money from them, that means some of these other schools are going to suffer because, those players are not going to go, commit to those programs.
Right. They're not going to commit because they're going to be like, well, I'm not going to go to this school because this school never gives money. I mean, it's
complicated.
It's complicated. And you definitely can't say pay. That changes everything when you say, are you going to pay these players? That changes everything. It has to be stipend, right? Can they get a stipend that can help them pay for personal items? Things like that. If you say pay, that puts you that makes you a professional.
I guess one idea could be merch. I mean, if you
I mean, they don't. I mean, I'm sure the players don't care if it's called a stipend or they get paid. I mean, they don't care which one it's called as long as they get the money, because there's plenty of programs in colleges where they get stipends. To take
what about what Viv just said? Maybe, for example, Zion, give him a percentage of his merchandise, his name, let him do a commercial. Let him. I don't like it. I know it's complicated, but I'm just not comfortable with the coach making $14 million.
No, I get you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I mean, there has to be a solution. There has to be a solution because, they are making money off these players and the players get nothing. I mean, they're supposedly getting the education. If they stay 4 years, they'll get the education. They stay 4 years. But, there has to be some way that they can work it out so that the players can they can benefit from it somehow. Because the NCAA, yes, they're making a killing off of these players' names. A killing.
Sim, come on now. We all know the truth. We all know that Duke and North Carolina have a rivalry. But we all know the reason why them ticket prices was that high. Why Spike Lee, you had Barack Obama, you had all these guys, you have Jay-Z visiting. It's because of Zion. And to me, it's just that's the part that really hurts me. Is I just don't like seeing young black men getting exploited for their talent, so other people can get paid.
Right.
That hurts me a lot because
now
like I said, these kids come from the hood. They come from families that need money and they can't get it. But you got Coach K, and it's not against Coach K because that's just he's doing what he's doing. But it's just I'm not comfortable with him getting $14 million.
I feel
and you only
this is a pet peeve of mine right here, Isaiah, though, right? And I'm not pointing you out, but this is a pet peeve of mine. I don't like it when people compare athletics to slavery. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't think it's fair because whether or not you have a choice as to whether or not there's enough institutional racism going on in the world where we don't have to look and say and compare athletics to slavery, because you have a choice on whether or not you can play basketball. You have a choice on whether or not you want to play basketball. These players, Zion Williamson, he could have said, I'm not going to Duke. I'm going to go play in China. He could have made that choice. He could have made the choice to play for a G League team. He could have made the choice to go play and1 basketball. He could have made a choice to do whatever he wanted to do. Right?
The reason they're going to Duke is they got the publicity.
The high profile, the publicity. But hold up. Let me finish. Right? Slaves didn't have that choice. They didn't have the choice. So it bothers me when people make that comparison, right? Because slaves had to fight and battle, and then you had slaves, who were fighting in battle for their lives. It's trying to find a way, to make life better for them and their children, so that years later you could have the civil rights movement that, tried to make things better for African Americans in this country, so that young men that play today would have the choice, to play basketball, right? Because, there were leagues that were whites only, and you had a separation of leagues. It's not like that anymore, because you had the civil rights movement, and you had people who fought for these young men to be able to make the choice, and these young men to be able to make millions, right? So it's just no comparison. It's no comparison. I don't like when people compare it to slavery, because any player that's going to one of these schools can decide not to go. Right? He can right now, he can say, I'm done. I'm not coming back to this team. You know what I'm saying? And he'll probably still make millions somewhere. So, these slaves didn't make millions of dollars. You go ask a slave right now, if you could, would you rather be in these fields picking cotton or playing basketball? You see which one they choose. You know what I mean? So I don't like it when people compare it to slavery.
Can I respond real quick?
Yeah.
Oh, also, give him a sec. You let him back in. So I do agree with you. I won't. I understand. I won't say. I won't bring it back to slavery. But I want some people to understand, because some people are. I'm reading the chat. Some people are saying it's a fair trade. Okay, that's the part where it gets me mad. Don't say it's a fair trade. Don't ever say that's a fair trade, because you're telling me a $40,000 investment, a $40,000 versus $1 billion industry. That's not a fair trade. The only reason why I would say that this benefited Zion, because I'll say that Zion was projected to be only a top. He was projected to be go number 5, something like that. He projected to go number 5. Now he's projected to go number 1. So I will say, for a certain extent, that it was best for Zion to go to college. But don't tell me it's a fair trade when you have the former president, you got Jay-Z, you got Floyd Mayweather coming to your games. You're literally the biggest prospect as far as hype since LeBron James to come out, and you're not getting paid. Don't tell me that's a fair trade. Don't say that's a fair trade, because that's total BS. Like I said before, Zion should be at least getting something, at least something with his likeness. He can't even go out here and get a job because it's against the rules. And that's, to me, just ridiculous. When you have Coach K, who's literally making $14 million. He has a Nike shoe deal. And these kids can't even bring their own shoe. Or if they wanted to do anything like that, he can't even wear Adidas. He doesn't have a choice of what he wears. He has to wear Nikes. Mm-hmm. So don't tell me it's a fair trade, because that's total BS. Don't even bring up the education, because that's a joke. That's, to me, to a certain extent, that's a joke, because
I do agree with you that, the NCAA needs to make some changes. I totally agree with you that the NCAA needs to make some changes, because they are making billions off of the backs of these players, and they selling jerseys with these kids' names on the back of them and all this stuff, and
oh my. I'm sorry. I'm just reading. I'm just reading like.
Hold up. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. At
Nah, I'm
everybody in
not
chat.
mad. I'm not mad.
But
I'm not mad.
you know, on the other, and so it does have to change. It does have to change, right? On the other hand, the players do know what they're signing up for. You know what I mean? I mean, they're young kids, and so they don't know everything. But they do have a choice in the matter. They can decide not to go. You know what I mean? Listen, Emmanuel Mudiay decided. I'm sure his situation was different, but Emmanuel Mudiay decided to go to China. He made $1 million in China. Had a sneaker deal with Under Armour. Brandon Jennings decided to go play in Italy. He made his $1 million in Italy. They could decide to do that. You know what I'm saying? They could decide to do that. And I just want to respond. You know, there's people in the chat, and listen. People. I see some people say slavery still exists. Talking about certain things. That wasn't the. And someone said, the fight is not over. That wasn't the premise of the conversation. Obviously, there's still a lot of growth that needs to happen when we talk about race relations in this country, right? What we were talking about is comparing professional sports to slavery, right? I see a lot of people do it. I just don't like the comparison. I don't think it's a fair comparison. I think that it is an insult to the slaves that took whippings and seen their wives and children raped and taken away, families broken up, to compare the two. I just don't think that's fair. So that's what that was about, But anyway, I don't want to get too deep. I don't want to get too deep into that. Let's continue.
We can get deep,
sports,
brother.
Man.
We can get deep.
Sim, then I guess like. Isaiah, why are you just film on me?
Sorry, man. I'm sorry. I got lost in the moment, man. I love all my brown, beautiful brothers and sisters.
He's just gonna keep going.
I'm gonna shut up.
I mean, like, look, it's a tough. The whole thing is tough. There's so many college athletes, right? Like we're not even talking just Division I. There's like you got people in Division II. You got people in like Division III that think, I played basketball too. I may not be on TV all the time, but hey, I play basketball. I'll play sports. I want to get paid. I think it's just the probably the sheer number of athletes and all sorts of stuff. It just makes it a whole lot, I guess, complicating, like a discussion to talk about. Especially it's just the whole nuances of it. But I guess I was trying to read up on it while I was talking about it. I think one of the original premises behind, the reason players weren't paid to begin with was, I guess, the fact that, college sports, or is it called like intercollegiate athletics, is encompassed into, I guess, education. So I guess, this is like talking about college basketball, I guess, like pre all like the major TV deals and everything else. So, they looked at it as a premise that sports is still part of like the education process, and it's part of like the student education. So, there's like Supreme Court precedents that specifically state, okay, this is why, players, to preserve the integrity of the game, and the concept of like education in the system, college players should not be paid. There's a Supreme Court precedent on it. Right. Now, obviously, with the TV deals and everything else, it makes the conversation a whole lot tougher to to discuss. I think that's if you do any sort of compensation, I think it'll have to probably be done like from if it's shoes or merchandising or etc. That's the real opportunity. I think players should probably get compensated for their likeness. But I think I don't see a lot of like the mid-tier schools and stuff being able to financially be able to pay players. And I think if they're going to pay players, they'd probably want to make sure they stay for more than 1 year. So I think it becomes a whole big mess, as part of this process. So I understand why it's been such a difficult thing, and I understand why people obviously want people to be paid, but it's not as just simple as saying, okay, we're just going to pay you, I don't know, insert however many dollars. Like, all right, we're just gonna pay as many dollars every year. It just can't. It's just too complicating to actually work that way.
Yeah. There's a lot of work that has to be done with this system. A lot of work that has to be done.
So let's do it then. Let's do it then. We make too many damn excuses to not pay these kids, man. We're using their likenesses. We have these big TV contracts. We know how to find a way to pay these coaches without a blink. So let's find a way to pay these kids. If you come from a mid-tier team, whatever, a mid-conference, whatever, but there's some weird TV deal you have, hey, those kids, the top kids or whoever it may be, need to be paid a portion of that, man. It's disgusting how, you know, we've gone, not you, Viv, and it's just the conversation's going from, well, no, you're going to school for education, to don't you care about the spirit of a school, to, well, it's too complicated. Well, if that's the case, I would encourage Zion, you sit out the rest of the year, don't even play in a tournament, don't do anything, prepare for NBA. That's your future. All that stuff about this stuff, we're not paying these kids, man. I remember, I don't know if it was Mount Vernon or New Rochelle, I think it was Mount Vernon, where I heard of scouts going to elementary schools to go out and scout kids who are as young as 7, 8. That is, excuse my language, that's effing disgusting, man. That is effing disgusting. So if you have the NCAA, you have these boosters, you have all these people, all their tentacles in the youths of these kids when they're young. I'm pretty sure paying them off, you can find a way to pay these kids because the boosters are finding a way to pay these kids. So I don't care how they got to do it. Pay maybe your top. Maybe you can have a ranking system or whatever of the top players of the top NCAA 2, whatever divisions, blah blah. You pay these players. If you have a TV contract, you pay them. Whatever money's coming to the way of the coaches that is not directly from the school in terms of like they're getting contracts, endorsements, blah blah. Then you pay the kids, man. Let's stop. They're pimping out the kids. It's not slavery. I would never compare slavery. But they're pimping out these kids, man.
I think you gotta pay them all. If you're gonna pay, you know, some of them, you gotta pay them all. I think they all gotta get paid the same amount. Because, you know, if you pay one guy,
I would say same amount.
So here's the problem: if you pay Zion, say, let's put some arbitrary number. I don't know, like what would you pay Zion right now? 100,000, right? You pay Zion 100,000, and then you pay what are you gonna pay Reddish then?
See.
That's why I say you have a ranking system and you scale it. Have a set of scale and have a ranking system for the top whatever players to get paid. And if you want players to do well, put like this. This is how this will work. And I think it will be better, right? If you have a guy like Zion, right? Zion's looking at like, I'm going to get paid, whatever. I'm getting paid for my likeness. I'll be in the NBA anyway, right? You might have some kids who think they're good enough for the NBA. They might say like, well, maybe I'm not that good enough for the NBA, but I could work my way up to top 20 something or top 50 of college NBA. I get paid for my likeness. I can become an even better star, working hard, blah, blah, and then I go to NBA. You actually might get a greater product, and with kids staying in school a lot longer than them trying to be one and done. They come in the NBA and they flop because they're not as good as they thought they were. So I'm just saying, you create a scale, you create a system where it's the top 50 players or whatever it may be of each division, and you pay these players based on the TV contracts you have, based on, you know, every play. If you have a guy who's they're buying however many jerseys for this guy, you cut him a piece of that, man.
But
like,
is it still? I mean, is it still amateur sports then?
No, it's not amateur sports.
That's not amateur sports, right? That's not amateur sports.
Is that entertainment then?
I think.
Is it entertainment now?
I mean, it's definitely entertainment now, right? I mean, listen, the schools is business. It is business. It is clearly business, and you know they're making money, you know, off of the bad kids who are making money off of these schools, right? They're not making any money whatsoever. And listen, it's like the NCAA, they don't even give you, there is no full ride. There is no, you don't get a 4-year full ride. It's, we'll give you 1 year. And whatever happens after this year, we're going to make another decision next year on whether or not we're going to give you a scholarship, which means they can decide if they don't like the way this kid is playing, he's gone. He's done. Right? Yep. So the schools have all of the, they have all leverage, the power in that situation. This is what I think needs to happen.
George is different.
I tell you what I think needs to happen. And will it happen? It would be very hard. right? But if you get these top players decide, I'm not going to school. It might happen if the NBA drops the age level and says that players can come in out of high school. But these top players start saying, I'm not going to school. They're not going to take advantage of me. I'm going to go out and play professional sports and get my own deal. Zion Williamson, he could have went to a G League team. He would have been able to, he would have had a shoe contract right now already making millions in the G League. I can guarantee it. Right?
He could have made it. He just won't go. He wouldn't have done it because he wants the attention on TV.
He wouldn't have done it, right? Because he want be on TV and all that kind of stuff. But people knew who he was coming out of high school. If he would have decided to go to a G League team, he would have definitely got a sneaker contract. He would have been making millions of dollars already. And cameras would have been following him and watching him. And if players start doing that, now you're gonna see players in college staying for 4 years. It's not gonna be the same level, the same talent level that's in college, right? You have less eyes watching college, more eyes watching the G League, right? Well, now you really start to see a shift.
Yeah, but
Sim. Sorry,
Sim. What's the name recognition of players coming out of high school in a relative sense, to the like if when a player comes on onto TV, right? Like college players, right? They get a lot more household name recognition, right?
They do.
When you're still in high school as a senior, right? What's the name recognition outside of like the general, I guess, the basketball community? How many people actually truly know these type of players?
Yeah, but Viv, if you're not making money straight from high school, right? If you're going to college, who gives a damn about your name recognition? Because the scouts are still watching you.
My point is this, Guillermo. My point is this: if your name recognition's all right, you say you go to the G League, right? Say if Zion never went to he never went to Duke, right? He just went straight to the G League. Who's like the shoe deal is kind of going to be based on the people that actually buy his shoes. So how many people actually know Zion to potentially buy his shoes?
But this is what happens. Say it's Nike or it's Adidas, right? They sign Zion. They're gonna start making commercials with this guy.
Exactly.
So now the shoe companies are making him big. They're gonna start making commercials, and then people will say, "Well, who is Zion?" And then they're gonna say, "Oh, he plays for the Westchester Knicks." Right? And then what's going to happen? They're going to start watching the G League. All of a sudden, the G League becomes a popular league, right? And these players are getting paid. And now, the more popular that league becomes, the more money those players can get until they.
Yep. Well, that's the plan for the G League right now. The G League's plan is to ideally try to get to pay their players more than whatever the $30,000 they're making right now.
Right.
Well, guys, remember, look, it takes two things, right? One thing already happened, and that's ingenuity and competition, right? People don't give this guy enough credit. Lonzo Ball's father, LeVar Ball.
They never give him credit.
He doesn't get enough credit, and they're purposely not giving him credit because they know he's a threat to the system. That's why they try to demonize him, but he's too powerful a figure. That G League thing, it was because of him. It's because of one guy who was able to get endorsements, become an alpha male in terms of being this, his father's made this crazy, predilections, whatever. It takes one guy like that to turn the system. And then two, if I'm Coach K, I'm begging Zion to leave to go to NBA. All it takes is one top-notch, like, oh, he's the next LeBron, whatever, prospect to get an injury where it was like he could have sat out and gone to NBA and let him, God forbid, I hope nothing happens to Zion, but let it be that some guy like Zion has a terrible injury, tries to get into NBA, and he fails. And it's because he never healed from that injury. And this is a kid, this is supposed to be the next Jordan, next Shaq, whatever you want to call it. It takes those things. Once that happens, that college thing goes away. And it's not like the 80s and 90s, Sim. College basketball, as much as I love it, the names, because guys aren't staying in school as much, that aura of, yo, man, Larry Johnson, UNLV running Rebels, man. Right. That aura of that sustaining power of caring is going away, man.
It's gone.
Yeah.
There are a lot of players that were one and dones like that too. That they were supposed to be like legit guys, and then one injury happened, and all of a sudden, their draft stock went from to nothing.
If these players decide that they're not going to go to these schools, you'll see a shift in NCAA. They may not start paying their players though, because now they won't have those same TV deals. They won't have those same shoe deals because it won't have the same cachet of player, right? But it would benefit people all the way around though, because now players, now the NCAA can look and a player comes in and these players are going to be there for 4 years. They can really get the education, right? The school will make a proportionate amount of money, because you don't got the same superstar, all-star, big name players, right? You got players that are going to stay there all 4 years. Because what happens now? You get these players that are coming in for for one and done, and it's taking a scholarship away from some other kids that really could need it. That's not going to, maybe he's not going to go pro, but could have a good 4-year career in college and really get an education and then come out and do something, with their education. These one and dones is taken away from those guys that really do deserve scholarships. So it'll open the door up for more kids to be able to get scholarships. These kids will be able to, the highly talented players that can go professional, play professional, they'll be able to either go to the NBA or go to the G League. The NCAA, while they won't be paying the players, they eventually, over time, they'll make less money off of their endorsements and TV deals and all that kind of stuff because the league won't be as popular. And then hopefully it would start to even out as far as the NCAA is concerned. Because I can tell you, I don't know if they're ever going to pay the football and basketball players. I don't know if they're ever going to do it. I don't know if they're ever going to do it. So if they're not, then the players need to. Now, with football, it's different. You can't. I don't know how they take it into their own hands, but with basketball, you can. They can take it into their own hands with basketball. Football, I don't know if you can, because I don't know if there's enough professional leagues that they can go play in out of high school.
There are.
It's really not, because you got pretty much you got arena and Canada football.
Right. My thing is this. My thing too, though, is while we sit and we see it on different places where people complain about it, there's who's out there fighting to really try to push it and make it happen.
Well, the problem is that I think the top players are just they're a little bit risk averse in that sense. They want to, they don't want to take a risk of saying, okay, I'm skipping
right
the entire college. Like, I'm not going to college. How many of those players you're gonna find? You have the risk. You have the risk, right? For every guy, like, I don't know. Let's look at Brandon Jennings, right, or Emmanuel Mudiay, who said, okay, I'm not doing college. I'm going straight to China or this league, right? And mind you, those two players made a ton of money overseas. But, look at what happened to them compared to someone who did go to college. Like,
but okay, that's a fair point. But the thing is, we don't know if they would be the same player or not. They may have went to whatever school they were going to go to, come into the league and been the same player. That's largely, but that's
they could have. That's a very fair point.
That's largely due to coaching over in China, though. They probably would have got better coaching going to college. But if you talk about these players going to the G League, they're going to get better coaching than in college.
Right. The question is
not coaching as far as Coach K, but development. Let's say that they're going to have access to more facilities. They're going to have access to a number of coaching. They're going to have access to nutritionists and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
but then what they won't have access to is attention. And until the G League starts unless they start getting their salaries somewhere close to whatever the vet minimum is, which is like $1 million, they need to be somewhere in the average of like 500 to 750, even to compete. Because there are players that are going to go overseas compared to the G League just because the G League salary is $30,000.
Yeah, they might. I think it's a little higher now, but they might go to right now. Yeah, right now they might go overseas before they go to the G League.
Which means the G League needs TV rights, and they don't have any
know.
TV rights.
Right, but all it takes is one. There's no one. There's one of those big time players is not afraid. So far they've been afraid to be a trailblazer. All it takes is one trailblazer to do it. One.
It's the one thing they need the attention though. They need
Yeah, but if the viewership, if the talent moves, the viewership is going to go where the talent is.
Going to go with exactly the talent.
Like there, but it's also it's all connected, right? So it's viewership is one thing, and then wherever they're playing, they're gonna need people in the stands because it's like they're playing like high school gyms to the extent like
right.
most.
But then that's viewership. If I found out that R.J. Barrett, John Morant, Zion Williamson, all these guys, right? This is extreme, right? But say we got to a point where these guys like screw college, we're all gonna play in the G League, blah blah blah. And think about it. Also take into account, Viv, you talked about attention. These guys are becoming stars from high school, from just YouTube tapes. Like Zion Williamson became a legend before Duke. Like he's doing Duke a favor because he was a legend, all these dunks and stuff. So if you have the advent of these kids becoming stars, middle school, high school, if they start going to the G League, if they just move and don't go to college, that attention is already built up. This is not the 90s where you need college, because you might have heard of, OJ Mayo, even though OJ Mayo was in 2000s. So the internet is helping these guys build out their brand way before college, man.
You've heard of the app, you've heard of Overtime.
Nah, I never heard of that.
Okay.
They just have basketball highlights from young kids?
It's not an app. They're just a company and they do, they do highlights of high school players, right? Overtime. Carmelo Anthony just invested in it. There's some other NBA players invested in it. There's another one that LeBron James invested in where they just do highlights of high school players. You know what I'm saying? These players, they have names right now. I mean, if you look at it, Carmelo and LeBron, they played a game on ESPN at high school.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
At high school, they played a game on ESPN. AAU. It's played on ESPN.
They have games on.
They have games
TV.
on ESPN.
Yep.
But you know what it is, Sam? I think a lot of these kids are scared, and this is out throughout history. Whatever, everybody hates being the first one.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the throughout history. And no matter what it is, everybody hates being the first one to do it because if these kids realize how much power they have. Like, I don't think Zion really gets how much power he has. And he's a good kid. And they don't, if Zion said, you know what, college kids should get paid. I'm telling you right now, Sim, I think he'll get it on the right path to get it moving. But it's just a lot of these kids.
Well, I mean, a lot of
You know what? You're gonna change that though. Look who's becoming the agents though. LeBron James, I don't like him necessarily that much as a player. He's a Hall of Famer, but LeBron James is an agent now, or he's he has his agency, whatever he's trying to say. He doesn't have it. He's gonna start telling these kids, "Hey, look, you have the leverage in your hands." Like LeBron James with the decision, and he changed the NBA.
It changed everything.
He changed the paradigm. So he's telling these young kids, and first of all, like Sim said, he's investing in this stuff, so he has a monetary interest to tell these kids, "Hey, college, all that stuff. Look, bro, you don't need college. They need you, and they're not paying you. Go straight to the G League or whatever. Build out the G League, or he might create a little Lonzo Ball league. He might be the guy because everyone hates Lonzo Ball. He might recreate Lonzo Ball's league and become the competitor to the G League. And now it's a LeBron James league before the NBA. It's gonna change. These guys they're making moves, man. It's just a matter of time.
Let me get to this caller. Caller, you on live? What's popping, man?
We got a caller.
Yeah. Hey, caller, you there? Hello? Yeah, what's going on,
course.
man? You live, bro.
You call in and say hello. Oh, actually, yeah.
Hello?
Okay, who's Morgan? Is that you?
I don't know what happened. But anyway,
listen, Sam, I'm not gonna lie to you.
But yeah, definitely, there's gonna be listen, if they drop the age and players are able to go to the NBA, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna get some players that try to go to the NBA and can't make it. They're gonna fall to the G League. You're gonna get players that make it in the NBA. the cachet of the G League is going to rise because these players are still going to get paid. In a year or two, they'll be able to go to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? And while they're in the G League, they're going to start building a name in the G League. People will start watching G League games, right?
Yep.
When their favorite high school players make it into the G League. Now, high school players don't have household names yet, but for young basketball players that are in high school, other basketball players that are in high school, they're following these like overtime, and they're following that. They submit clips because that's how they get a lot of their clips. Other high school players submit their clips so that they can get on. Then they also have people that go out and video, and get clips, and then they post it on Twitter, post it on Instagram. So yeah, these guys got names. You know what I'm saying? And when these guys start to go play for a G League team, and they get the marketing power behind them from one of these shoe deals, like I said, if Zion Williamson went to the Knicks, the Westchester Knicks, and
my God,
Adidas or somebody signed him, they're gonna start marketing him.
So Sim, let me ask you this
and then what's gonna happen? That's gonna bring fans.
So Sim, let's try to play this out, right? So if an 18-year-old, if a kid straight from high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
If let's say there's a bunch of people that are just saying, all right, I'm just gonna go to the G League, right? Should there just be like a separate G League draft for all these high school kids? How should we do it? Because now all these G League teams, right? They all connected to the NBA teams in some sort of way.
Yeah.
Should there be like a separate draft for all like the kids who want to like go straight to the G League?
Wait, is there 32 G League teams?
So
no, it's not 32 yet, but there will be 32
yet. So the
32.
way they do it now is, I guess they have a system where they assess the kids, right, to see if they would be drafted, and if not, because like right now from out of high school, well, you can go into the league. They do some, I don't know what it is, but they assess.
What do they make
a determination. Right? They make a determination on whether this kid could be drafted into the G League.
Yeah.
And then they tell them yes or no.
So I have an idea, right? So why don't you do an option, right? You let these kids have the right to go into the NBA draft, right? Mm-hmm. And if they say they don't get picked in the NBA draft, they have the option. Okay, I'm gonna go to like there's gonna be a special draft just for like the G League players, right? Mm-hmm. So how like the G League draft, you can just go straight to the G League draft or whatever. And then, so you have an option of either getting drafted straight through the NBA and getting an NBA contract, and then, or if you don't get drafted, then you have an option. Okay, you just go through the regular like special G League draft or whatever. I don't know how many players are going to go through like that, but then, so then what happens is those players who get drafted in the G League, they don't keep their rights can kind of just be open in that some sort of way, and then and then they go back next summer, and then they try to go for the draft again. So that way they preserve their freedom in some sort of way where they basically audition. Right. They can go to the draft next year or the year after and whatever, and then go from there.
Yeah, and they'd have to work out however the system would be. And a little known fact: when players go into the G League. The G League has a partnership with Arizona University, I think it is, where the kids can, the G League pays a portion of their tuition to go to school online.
Really?
Yeah, I love
the University of Phoenix.
No, it's not the University of Phoenix. It's like Arizona State University or something.
Oh, Arizona State. Okay, gotcha.
Something
it's the Harvard of school.
And
I see it right here. Yeah, it partners with Arizona State. Right, I see it. ASU. Gotcha. Yep. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
And the G League pays. I don't know if they pay the whole thing, but they pay a portion of it. And I tell you what, if you're getting players that's going to the G League, right? There's going to be more and more universities that sign up to say, okay, we'll let your kids go to school here online, so that now that they can start getting an education.
I think what they should do is they should go local. Like, what if like the Westchester Knicks, right? They did a deal with, I don't know, St. John's or something.
Yeah.
Like you do local partnerships or something.
I like that.
It's
a lot of things that can happen.
somehow,
man. A lot of things that can happen.
Well, it's gonna be like baseball in a sense where it's like, you have a legit minor, like your minor league squad is basically like a legit minor league squad, and you just,
Yeah.
you go,
All
you skip the college and go
Yeah.
from there.
All right, guys. The Knicks play Sunday versus the San Antonio Spurs.
Ooh.
All right. What time is the game Sunday?
5:00.
Ooh.
The game is 5:00.
I think it's 5 or 5:30.
It's about to be the start of one of those stretches, I think. Right? If we look at the Knicks' upcoming schedule for February, we in February, right? All right, so for the rest of February, we got San Antonio, Orlando, and Cleveland. It's the rest of February. March is brutal. March is going to be a brutal month for us. All right, maybe we can do something with Orlando. We can we can beat Cleveland if we're focused. We got the Clippers. We got Sacramento in March. Then we got Phoenix. We can beat them. We got Sacramento again. Minnesota this time. Karl Anthony Towns will probably play. Got Indiana, San Antonio, the Lakers, Toronto, Utah, Denver, the Clippers again, Toronto, and Miami. That's how we end March. I mean, look, we have how many wins? We have 11. We got Chicago, Orlando, Houston, Washington, Chicago, Detroit in April. When I look, I see possibly two more wins.
God damn, 13 wins?
I got the Suns. I have
Cleveland.
I don't even think we beat Cleveland. I don't even think we beat them.
And maybe one of the Chicago games. So I got 3.
Okay,
We'll play a good team well enough to win. We always do that. We'll probably beat a team that we shouldn't have beat.
We'll beat the Lakers.
We're the weirdest. And Sim, why would you say a stretch? Like as if we've been losing for a while. We won one in the last, I don't know. So this stretch,
I know,
you make it seem like we're close to the playoffs. Like this.
I know, but we played some teams but we played a schedule up until now that maybe we pointed out some teams at one point and said, yeah, we can maybe beat them. Looking at March, there's barely any teams that we can even come close to beating. Now, maybe we surprise or shock a team or two. But there's barely any teams that we can come close to beating, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see the Suns and I see Lakers. No, we're not going to beat the Lakers. Not this version.
Not with LeBron.
No,
Because LeBron activated now.
I guess. So.
No, there's not a question of LeBron activated. It's more a question of it's LeBron at the Garden now.
Yeah, he thinks he has like it. But you know what I would see? Dennis Smith Jr. likes to play. I want to see if LeBron James does one of these flexing things. Someone just hit him. That would make the season so much better.
Dennis Smith
someone
Jr.
hits
ain't
him,
gonna do it 'cause that's
elbows him.
That's his boy. He's not gonna do that. That's his
Dennis
boy.
Smith Jr. not gonna do it because that's his boy.
That's his boy. Oh
Yeah.
man.
So
Yeah, LeBron won't do it.
So versus San Antonio, man. Any chance?
No. Unless Greg Popovich want to prove a point to his team somehow.
Bench all his starters?
Yeah, bench all his starters. That's how he does it.
He can bench all his starters, and then they'll still play better. I mean,
Well, we wouldn't play the team smart because DeMar DeRozan right now, he's actually shooting like 18% from three or something like that. So I just give him the LeBron James treatment, and just that's terrible. 18%, whatever that is from three.
Yeah,
but we're not a smart team like that. We don't game plan for these teams, man, because we just allow them to play to their strengths and like I don't know. But he's shooting 17.1%. That is god awful. I would do like how the Spurs did to LeBron James at first. I was just literally back up and just way by the rim.
Hey, Sim, I'm gonna shout out to you know what's crazy, Sim? Me and Troy Flint, we actually been cool. We've been talking. We actually been agreeing a lot of stuff. But Troy did ask why you still not talking about the draft. Listen, everybody, I'm gonna speak with Sim.
I guess Troy wasn't listening earlier when I said we're gonna start talking about the draft in the next show. You know what I mean? So, I'm gonna give Troy the gas face for that. He gets the gas face. I'll go.
I know the game
Gas
starts
face
at
Troy.
7:30.
Get the gas face, Troy. Because I said it earlier. Next show we're gonna start talking about the draft. You get the gas face.
The game starts at 7:30 on
7:30. Yeah.
Sunday.
San Antonio
Sam,
right
you-
now is 33-27. San Antonio is. They're 7th in the West. Listen, the Clippers, man, they're 33-27 too, even without Tobias Harris. I mean,
Yeah, they're
of course,
tough team.
of course, they had a good record, but they've won their last 5-5 in the last 10. They have a good shot at keeping that 8th seed.
I can't.
Listen, they're 33-27, and they're a real threat to the Knicks. I don't care what no one says. They're 33-27. They got money in free agency. They're 33-27
Wait, who's this,
in the
Brooklyn?
West.
No, he's talking about the Clippers.
The Clippers.
I'm sorry, Clippers.
They're 33-27 in the West, and they have money in free agency. They're a real.
They're weird. They're weird because they have a good core. They traded off Tobias, and that kid whatever his name is. He's a pretty solid point guard. I think Kawhi's gonna go because he already bought the house in Cali, Los Angeles.
I can see him go. I can see him go to the Clippers.
I'd be very scared though if Kyrie, God forbid, but if he has a horrific injury, there's something in me that just says that even though KD's moving all his stuff to New York, if Kyrie might be like, yo, bro, just don't worry about it. Just drop the Knicks thing. He might go over and play with Kawhi just to show up LeBron.
Gilmore, I'm not gonna lie to you, Gilmore. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't think Kyrie needs can hold up in the West. I don't see it happening.
You're probably right.
I'm not even trying to be funny. I don't think his knees can hold up in the
You
West.
might be right. Yeah. The Phoenix Suns, you guys, 16 in a row. They're going for it.
Yo, they are
16 in a
out taking
row.
us
They've
right now.
lost
That is
16
so
in a row.
funny.
Ugh.
But listen,
That's not fair. They have so much. No, there has to be a penalty. There has to be something the NBA could do where it's like, if you are purposely uncompetitive.
How about this? Check this out. How about this? Let's just say this. I don't remember what league does this. I don't know if the NBA would probably never do it. But let's just say this.
Oh, the demotion?
If you're the worst team in the league, you got to go to the G League for a year.
Oh, relegation. Yes, that's soccer. Soccer does that.
Yeah, soccer does it. Yeah.
But soccer doesn't have a draft. But yes, I
they
agree,
don't
man.
have a
If you are that bad,
You're that bad, you go to the G League for a year.
Could you get rewarded if you are like the
still get the
19?
draft
Should you
pick.
get rewarded with a higher draft
It
lottery?
doesn't matter because you can give the Suns high draft picks all you want, and they're still gonna suck.
That's not
See,
fair, man.
That's the thing that's getting me really mad with the Sun is that they have so much talent, and they still suck.
Because they're not good talent. That's the problem.
It might be coaching, man. Because the thing about this, they had
It's not
Alex Len.
coaching. It's not coaching. It's the entire culture they set up. Not coaching. It's from the top down, from ownership to front office and all these people. All this losing is caught up to all their players. That's why Devin Booker looks like a complete loser right now. They've all developed bad habits, just being around a bunch of losing. It's just, it's terrible.
Listen, Bill Russell said it. Bill Russell said it best, man. If you lose, you hang with losers, you're gonna become a loser.
Hey,
Don't hang with losers.
you got 11 rings to validate that, man.
Yeah.
So, or validate his words.
Let me before I get out of here, Sean, you asked about NBA fantasy. Yeah, in the next show I'm gonna do a quick update. That NBA fantasy league, I got so busy lately with these conferences and things that I had to do. I haven't been able to pay attention to it. I'm like last in all of my leagues. But we're gonna do an update on the fantasy leagues in the next show. And just take a look at how everyone's doing. So don't laugh, everyone, because I'm last. I just haven't been able to do it. I had too many other things happening.
You're actually not last in the. You're not last in the money league.
In the money league, yeah, probably middle of the pack.
Yeah, you're 10th in the money league.
Yeah.
But you're not that far off in the middle.
But I am going to do it next year. I am going to make sure I pay attention and really do it. I'll have a little bit more time. But anyway, the Knicks, man, they play San Antonio on Sunday, 7:30. I'm out, folks. It's 1:00 in the morning, and I think
This is a
tired.
good, healthy conversation, everybody.
Yeah, it was good conversations. Good conversation. I'm tired because I had a week. All week, I was up till 3:30 in the morning preparing for the next day of the conference, and then I had to be up at 7:30 to get down to the conference. So, you know, I'm exhausted. I need some rest. But I'll catch you guys Sunday night, man.
All right.
Hey,
Hey,
Sim, can I
man.
say one more thing, Sim? Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
One guy. That's
Huh?
it. You're a wonderful guy. That's it.
I appreciate it. Appreciate that.
Yeah, guys, stay away from massage parlors in Jupiter, Florida, man.
Yeah.
What? What's going on with that? Wait, what you talking
You
about?
didn't hear about Robert Kraft?
You didn't hear about-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
Yo, he
Stay
hanging with Meek. Yo, he hanging with Meek too much, man.
Yeah, Meek Mill got him. Yeah, but yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Hey, man, stay away from too much anyway, man.
Hey, Sim,
All right,
shout out. Hey, Sim, shout out to you, man. Shout out to Grandpa. But you go, did Joe have his baby yet?
Huh? No, not yet.
What?
Not yet. Soon.
Oh, not yet.
Soon.
Yeah, man.
Maybe this weekend.
We got another shooter coming. I feel
Yeah.
it. He's gonna.
Maybe.
You got
this
3
weekend.
kids playing for the Knicks. You got your daughter, your granddaughter, and your grandson.
Yeah, there we go.
It's too late. It's too late for Joe.
Yeah, it's too late. Yeah, it's too late for him. All right, man. I'm out, fellas.
All right.
All right.
All right,
peace,
Joe.
Out here. All right, peace. Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you for staying on with me. We had some good conversations this evening. We'll get a chance to talk Sunday. Remember, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Get a notification anytime that I go live. All right. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you Sunday. Peace.